Welcome to another lawyer-loaded episode of Open Matters, the Setfords podcast with me, Eric Woolard-White. I love this job. Please, Radio 6, give me a break. We have a wonderful conversation coming up with David Miers, another David, it's the David episode, David Formby, and then we're going to talk to an unsung hero who's going to explain why we are currently on the road. Nottingham last night, Manchester this evening, we were in Bristol before and Guildford before that. We have another event to do in London, so we hope you enjoy this episode of Open Matters. So welcome back to Open Matters, the Setfords podcast with me. If you've been listening for previous episodes, you'll know by now I'm your host, Eric Woolard-White. We're in Manchester, continuing our nationwide tour. Probably a bit grand. We've been to Bristol and Nottingham and Guildford, where we're based. So we're getting there. We're in Manchester now. There's a little bit of noise in the background. And because we're in Manchester, I'm not going to go and ask them to be quiet. There's a reputation here, and I'm sure they're very, very nice people. But let's not push our luck. I am joined now on Open Matters by a very famous Setfords consultant. He's appeared in lots of videos that we have shot talking about the company and life as a consultant solicitor. David Miers. Hello, David.
Hello, Eric.
Welcome to Open Matters.
Thank you very much.
The Setfords podcast. It's lovely to have you. Really lovely to have you. You've come here from Liverpool today, haven't you?
I have, so I'm certainly not telling the Mancunians next door either to move.
Yeah, let's not start any fights.
Yeah.
It's not a good look.
Yeah, it's an away day for me today.
Definitely on a podcast. However, we do know a lawyer, so we could probably get things sorted quite quickly if we do run into trouble. But David, tell me a little bit about what you do, because you are involved in a very specialist area of law. We've worked a little bit together, but just give us a little talk through about what you do on a sort of day-to-day basis and the kind of cases you're involved with.
Okay. I think the best way to describe what I do is everybody knows an employment lawyer and everybody knows a personal injury lawyer, whereas I do the murky bit in the middle between the two. Effectively employment claims, but brought in a slightly different way in the county and high courts, because I specialise in stress at work, bullying and harassment cases, which historically are quite difficult cases and robustly defended. But that's what we do. And at Setfords, we can offer a 360-degree holistic approach. We've got lots of great employment lawyers. We've got lots of great personal injury lawyers. Yeah. And we can help those clients who perhaps fall slightly between the two or can advise if they've got options in both tribunals. That's what I do.
And so stress obviously manifests in many, many different ways. Give us some sort of examples of specific things you're working with that are causing that sort of stress and anxiety for people.
Yeah, I actually don't like the word stress, because you can't compensate for stress, because stress can be good and everybody is stressed. So what we're dealing with are psychiatric injuries, really. Yeah. And when we say psychiatric injuries, we mean people who are suffering with their mental health as a result of something that happens at work. Yeah. And what I do can range from acute injuries caused by very specific instant events. So if one of my clients was assaulted at work, or something very serious but happens in a short space of time, that might be classed more of an accident than, say, a disease case. That the vast majority of my cases fall into that category. Or it could be bullying and harassment. That tends to be the vast majority of my caseload these days.
And do you obviously get to see a certain number of these. Is there a sort of a trend? Is this sort of increasing? Are we putting more pressure on employees in the workplace?
It's an interesting point. I mean, the HSE publish stats every November about this, and the incidents have remained largely flat for the last few years, but more people are reporting it. Right. I think more people are saying, no, that's not right, I'm not prepared to put up with that anymore. Yeah. And so we see an increase in claims, but I don't know if it's right to say there's an increase in violence or increase in bullying. I just think society's woken up, and we've said that shouldn't happen, and nobody deserves to go to work and come back in a poorer state than when they went.
Does that then mean that we are better at making a workplace where people feel they can come forward and seek some help, do you think? Or is it, as you say, it's just the access to law is much more visible?
I think we contribute to making the workplace better by bringing the type of claims that we do and by helping the types of clients that come to us.
Yes.
I actually think that's probably the only way we're going to change behaviours, because staying quiet doesn't work, and it certainly doesn't help those individuals who have suffered get the justice which they deserve. So I mean, that's one of the main driving forces for the vast majority of clients. It's not just about them, it's preventing something similar happening to somebody else.
Yeah, it's that classic sort of justice being seen to be done, and that sort of deterrent-based aspect of it.
And do you know what? I'm convinced that the vast majority of clients wouldn't actually come to us for assistance had their concerns been acknowledged and validated by their employers at an earlier stage. And that sense of, no, they really should have done more, that sense of injustice is quite often a driving factor in them speaking out and trying to help others.
Yes, yeah, no, I think my own experience of sort of working in big employers and small employers, organisations now are taking a lot more steps, I think, to encourage people to, if they need to kind of sort of speak up. I think we worked a little bit earlier on in the year on a quite high-profile case involving Dominic Raab. There was a report about an allegation of bullying around him, which became sort of very topical. And you very kindly contributed to some media activity for that, which went pretty well. So, in terms of your arrival at Setfords, how long have you been with the firm?
About 4.5 years, me personally, but my wife was actually a consultant with Setfords beforehand. So I feel like I've been part of the Setfords family for longer than my years suggest. And it was actually Steph who introduced me to the utopic kind of dream of Setfords, because it did sound too good to be true, and I would probably have thought it was had I not have seen it work with my own eyes and seen how it transformed her working life. And so I met up with Guy and Chris, who, I mean, I still say it's probably one of the best meetings I've come out of, just because of the energy in the room, really.
Yeah.
And they were really enthusiastic about helping me get to where I wanted to be. And I needed a firm and an environment where I could achieve that. I'm probably a slightly unusual lawyer compared to the average lawyer at Setfords, in that my clients are one-time service users. So I wasn't a lawyer with a large following of clients. And in fact, repeat clients tend to be bad clients, in the sense of that's a red flag in terms of whether we can assist them so much. And so I really needed a firm that could help me generate work online, as opposed to adverts in the local media, because my work is so niche. I need to be spread around the country. I don't have a local community who I can serve. I need to be wider than that. And finding a firm that could offer me all of that was quite difficult until I was introduced to Chris and Guy.
I mean, they are really interesting people. I mean, when I met them first, probably similar to you, it's one of the best meetings / interviews I've ever had. They're just, you can bounce off them. They're, as you say, super enthusiastic. The model that they've created, I think, it did exist, but the way that they have taken it and interpreted it and, created Setfords as we know it today, I mean, it really is quite something.
I mean, I think when they started, it was revolutionary, and there are other remote working dispersed firms now, and it probably doesn't seem as radical post-COVID, lawyers working at home, but when they started the firm, it really was. And even 4 or 5 years ago, when you told your colleagues in private practice, I'm leaving to do Setfords, it was like, you're going to be working from home, doing what? How's that going to work? And It does, and I'm pretty much unemployable now, as I tell everyone that unless I can work when I want, how I want, wearing what I want, I'm not interested.
Yeah, because once you've tasted the freedom,
that's it.
I suppose. Why would you ever go back?
That's it.
Speaking of going back, where did you come from? Were you in a big?
I was. Yeah, so I trained at a large insurance firm called Miers. Had a fantastic training contract there in my earlier paralegal years, and I always speak highly of my time there. I qualified into a niche area under the guise of one of the partners there who I really looked up to, and was a real mentor for me. But I got the sense that I didn't feel fulfilled in my job. I wasn't getting as much job satisfaction as I thought I would do, and I'd done so much training and I'd worked so hard. To feel that sense of flatness was really disappointing. And at one point, we actually got married in 2014 in the summer, and by the November I was in the Army Careers Office. Not to sign up as the infantry or anything like that,
now.
But I was just looking for something. I didn't know what it was. So I looked to be a lawyer in the army. Could I do something like that? I didn't know if it was the role or the profession. I just knew something had to change. And then I found what was my stepping stone role really to Setfords, where I was approached to head up a department, doing the very thing that I'm doing now, which was great. And that gave me the confidence, I think, to go from somewhere like Wakeman's, which was a very corporate but defendant-focused machine. And I turned from gatekeeper to poacher, or dark side to light side, whichever way you want to look at it. And it gave me the confidence that actually I could do this on my own, doing it the way that I wanted to do it, because I thought that would give the best results. And I saw a gap in the market, and everything came together nicely.
Yeah, I mean, you're obviously really good at what you do. I mean, you have a reputation, and obviously, you have a media profile as well, which we can hopefully sort of develop further. One of the things you appear in a lot of videos, maybe not a lot, but certainly some that really stick in my mind, which help promote Setfords and how it all works. And there's one comment you make where you say, I'm a better lawyer and I'm a better dad. And I find that quite touching. Just talk to us about that. What do you mean there? Okay.
In terms of a better lawyer, I think one of the frustrations I had working in private practice is there's a lot of politics that goes with being a modern day lawyer. And what I found was that it wasn't necessarily the lawyering which I found difficult or stressful. It was actually the extra bit that goes on top, the management information, the needless meetings, the things which I had to do but had very little benefit to the client. It was more for the benefit of the partners in the firm. And I'm actually blown away how junior lawyers are often appraised by how much they bill their clients, where in actual fact the duty surely is to the client and giving them a good job. And I always think there's an interesting conflict there. And why should clients have solicitors appraised by how much they bill them? I just don't see it's in their best interest. And so the way I'm able to work at Setfords is I don't have to do all of that. I can just do a good job, and by doing a good job you have happy clients and you get paid, and that's the way it should be. It's a simple way of looking at being a lawyer, but there's no reason why that can't exist.
You're unshackled from those things that sort of weigh you down. The better dad bit, though, obviously that's about time, precious time.
Time and happiness. So if I'm happy at work, I tend to be happy in the home. But I was commuting from Liverpool to Manchester, spending 3 hours a day commuting. So that's 15 hours a week. And when I left that, I felt like I had an 8-day week because I got those 15 hours back. And so that I could pursue hobbies and look after myself better than I would have done. And one of the biggest things for me was that my children were really young when I joined Setfords. And so I went from being a weekend dad to actually being part of their weekday routine. So I was there to help them get ready in the morning. I could take them to nursery. I could pick them up, as opposed to leaving work early, sitting on a packed commuter train, trying to get back, normally failing before they went to bed.
Yeah, and so you're much more present in that routine, which is lovely if you get a chance to do that. I was lucky enough to do that with my daughter when she was younger. So,
and you don't get those years back.
You do not.
I didn't want to look back and regret that I should have done more. I should have been present more. So yeah, I mean, it sounds dead corny for somebody who hasn't considered this type of working, but it is the reality. And there are some lawyers who probably want to get up at 4 a.m. and work till God knows when. But I wasn't one of those. I wanted a healthy life balance. And the beauty of this way of working is that you can work to whatever suits you.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's as Chris Setford actually said in an interview recently with the lawyer, being a consultant solicitor is now a viable and established career option. And it's very much horses for courses. It's not for everyone. And as you say, some people like that kind of high adrenaline, sort of, high level sort of stress, if you like, at work. But yeah, it's now an option for those people that want something different, where you want a work-life balance. Just very quickly, all that time you got back, those 15 hours a week, what you mentioned hobbies, what do you do?
Oh, that's a good question. What do I do? I have more sleep, and I probably eat too much. But
foodie.
Foodie, definitely. Obviously, it's playtime with the kids, but I suppose my pastime of choice is golf. So I tend to reward myself with a bit more golf time in the summer, and I hibernate a little bit more in the winter.
Yeah, golf I find a tricky sport. Nice to watch. For me, when I'm playing it, I think I won an award at golf once for the longest walk. One of those ones they give you some strange thing at the end of a corporate tournament.
Is that because you were zigzagging round?
I know. I won a telescopic ball grabber.
Yeah. Okay.
For fishing stuff out of the water.
Yeah.
So let's not talk about my golf. Yours is probably of a much higher standard, I would say. Which brings us quite nicely into something that might fit in your backpack, actually. So when we do an episode, we like to ask a person such as yourself to play a game of What's in Your Backpack.
Yeah. My daughter plays this.
Does she?
Yeah, she's also got the little jingle which I told you beforehand.
Yes.
You promised the viewers you would do.
Well, we will maybe record one. Maybe we'll get her to do it, actually. That'd be quite a nice touch. So yeah, let's play a little round of What's in Your Backpack. Okay. So just a few little rules for context.
Okay.
This backpack can have 3 things in it that you choose.
Okay.
Assume that it's got the obvious things like a laptop and a charger and a mobile phone, notebook, pen.
Okay.
We're good for that.
Yeah.
Of the 3 things, one of them can actually sort of defy the laws of physics.
Oh.
And so it could be anything.
Okay.
Bigger than the backpack. It's like the TARDIS
type
backpack, 2 things should really fit in the backpack. So, David Miers,
oh my goodness.
Let's play a little round of What's in Your Backpack. What's in your backpack? Go.
Oh, it defies the laws of physics.
Yep.
So it can be something...
Yes.
Oh, what would I... how about... Superman cape? Or is that a bit off-brand?
No, go for it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Superman cape.
Yeah.
I like it.
Oh, actually, it's got to make me fly, though. It can't just be the cape that you can get down from the smithies.
You want actual superhero powers.
Yeah.
Okay, a Superman cape with superhero powers, we can accommodate that.
Yeah. I mean, not all superheroes wear capes, but I would like to wear a cape.
Absolutely. Highlight the fact that you are.
If I can fly, I've got to have a cape.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm sure some of your clients see you as a superhero.
Oh,
got to get that in.
What a brilliant little segue.
2 other things then. What would you have?
How about sand wedge and a golf ball? Can that count as one?
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine I'm somewhere and...
Sand wedge?
That
sounds like you're...
Well, I'm lazy, you see, because if I get the drive, it means I've got to go get the ball, and sand wedge is just a few yards, and that would keep me entertained quite nicely.
Okay, so a cape that helps you fly, sand wedge and a ball. One more thing we're going to have.
And I've got my laptop.
Yep.
I've got my phone.
Yep.
And I've got internet. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the essentials are there.
Yeah.
What else could I have?
Do you have a dog?
I do.
Yeah.
Bring
Doggy
the dog.
bags are popular on this.
Doggy bags.
Yeah, or biscuits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is the dog with me then? Yeah, she needs feeding.
Yeah, exactly. A little treat.
So I had a couple of fun ones, and now I'm being practical.
Absolutely.
That probably sums me up, actually.
Yeah? Practical.
Can't go too fantastical. Yeah.
Oh, David,
Dog biscuits.
You're a lovely human. I've enjoyed talking to you very much. So, David Miers, thank you so much for joining us on Open Matters. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So, joining me now on Open Matters, we have another David. This is definitely the David hour. We've just been talking to David Miers. We're now going to talk to David Formby. Welcome, David Formby.
Hello, Eric. Thanks for having me here. Thank you very much.
Oh, no, thank you for coming on. So, you're on Open Matters, the Setfords podcast. Tell us a little bit about what you do, your area of law. I don't know a lot about you, so I apologise greatly. Should have done my research. But as I mentioned, we're on a bit of a regional tour at the moment, so things are a little hectic. But tell me, what have you been up to?
No, that's fine. No need to apologise. I know you're busy. Yeah. So, I'm relatively new to Setfords. I started in September as a consultant solicitor, doing commercial property and residential property.
Right.
Decided to do both. Although this last 5 years I've been doing commercial property overall. And I've set up in my front room at home in Southport and, bought a laptop and started to work, and the matters have started to spring up quite nicely. It's pretty busy overall in the first 2 months and going okay. So
I think actually you're the newest consultant we've ever had on Open Matters.
Possibly I am.
I haven't actually been around that long yet, but September's not that long ago. So talk to us a little bit actually then about that sort of transition from what you were doing before and the sort of the induction journey. How have you found all of that in terms of your arrival within Setfords? Because not a lot of people will be familiar with that process.
Yeah. Well, at first, obviously, I was apprehensive about it, but more of the unknown side of things, really. But I was pleasantly surprised by the onboarding. I mean, my clients were on side with it anyway. Yeah. They wanted me to go somewhere where they thought I would stay for a while anyway, and have a bit more decision-making power over what I did and what I took on. And I think, that led me into Setfords, really, the clients were happy to come in as well.
Yeah.
The onboarding was relatively easy, really. Obviously, you've got to do all your courses and be up to scratch with CQS and everything.
Yeah.
And be prepared to put that in place. That took a bit of time, but once that was through, it's a commitment
for sure, and
it is. I think it's something you've got to think about yourself, and there is a bigger picture with it, I suppose, in the long run. Some salaried solicitors might think, well, I'm taking a risk, but in the long term, is this going to help me more? And that's an unknown quantity for anybody.
Yes,
it's your own business.
Yeah.
So
you're an entrepreneur.
That's right.
Really?
Yeah, that's it.
How does that feel?
At first, it felt quite freeing.
Yeah.
It's got very much busier in the last couple of weeks.
Yes.
And now I'm working slightly longer hours, but I think that will lead to rewards in the future. I know that. So
it strikes me you're giving off a vibe of someone who really enjoys their work. Is that the case?
Yeah, I do. I think it was the office environment that made me want to change. I think an hour commuting there, an hour commuting back. Yeah. It's long hours anyway, with some demands from clients, which is going to be the same anywhere you go.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I thought remote working would be good for me to try and see if I could make a success of it.
Well, it sounds like in a short time you've got that foundation. As you said, you had clients who came with you, which is great. Not everyone sort of has that, and so they tend to be a bit more reliant to begin with on our sort of big business development machine that we have in our sort of marketing and sales aspect of the business. What do you do more of, commercial or residential?
I would say I tend to do more commercial.
Yeah.
And at the moment, it's starting to focus that way.
Yeah.
So more commercial leasing, and more quotes are coming in for that side of things too from the business development team, who've been really good at helping me get quotes out.
Oh, that's
so good. That's been, and a few have started through the BDM team. You know, I've got quite a few new clients from the BDM process.
And are you using the Available for Work system on Teams? Yeah,
I am. Yeah. So the earlier you get on there, the better in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, I try to be on by 9:10,
yeah.
9:15. And I've found phoning the clients is more successful than just sending quotes out via email. Yes. Unless I'm busy, you know.
Okay, that's good to hear.
But that's been more of a success when you actually phone them up.
That's good feedback. So the commercial property then, is that a reflection of, we're in Manchester. Are you from Manchester? Whereabouts?
I'm from Southport. Which is on the northwest coast, just north of Liverpool. So I've got some ties with Manchester. I used to work at Land Law down in Altrincham. So that's where I did my training. So I've got some ties with Manchester. And I've worked in Greater Manchester before as well, in Wigan and Leigh. So, I'm looking to expand into different regions, really, not just the northwest.
Well, now you're an entrepreneur. That's it.
That's
you know,
right.
The world is your oyster, almost literally. So, I mean, I've actually spent quite a lot of time in Liverpool, and that whole region is huge for development, isn't it? There's so much going on. Yeah,
it is. The Baltic Triangle, a lot of development going on there, and simple residential developments and larger ones too, all the way up to Formby, with the bigger house builders too. So Merseyside is a varied place, definitely. If you look at Castle Street, there is a lot of restaurants there and bars, and they're always, you know, needing work to be done. So, you know, it's there, I think, you know, definitely.
Whereabouts are you from originally? Where's your accent from?
So, I'm from Southport. I am a Sandgrounder, born and
you
bred.
Stayed where you
I
were
stayed
born.
there, so I was schooled there. Went to university at Lancaster,
right.
Lancaster University, where I did a law degree. And then I went to Chester School of Law. So I don't have a strong Liverpool accent, got to be said.
No, just checking. I love accents, actually. I love sort of picking them up, and I you know, occasionally try and sort of mimic them. Not to be mean or anything. It's just a strange interest I have, but I will not try and do yours right now. So the little bit of extra time then that you're getting back with, you know, not commuting and you know, the sort of longer hours and stuff. What are you doing with that? What's David Formby outside of work up to?
Sure, I tend to. I'm quite musical, play guitar quite a bit, so tend to practice my music. No, alas, no. Not. It used to be a long time ago, but not anymore. So these days just practicing music or you know, seeing family. You know, seeing friends, going for walks around the lake in Southport, that sort of thing, and just relaxing really.
Should have brought your guitar for this evening.
I know,
really.
that would have been. I could have put some entertainment on.
Some free entertainment for tonight. For context for people listening, we have an event here in Manchester where we're meeting some of our consultants from the city and the wider region, which is great. That's kind of what we're up to. So you'll meet some new faces probably for you. A good chance to network.
Yep, sounds great. Sounds good.
So Formby also, that's an interesting surname.
It is.
Yes.
It is indeed.
Please tell me you've got a very, very famous ancestor back there somewhere.
You bring me back to school days now, when very often I was called George by school friends. But no, he's no relation. Although you're not the first person to mention it. So the family are from Formby. My father's from Formby. So we've got a house there. And,
right.
There are links to Formby.
You are properly established. I can sort of see some of your entrepreneurial promotional photos of you leaning on a lamppost. Oh God! I'm sorry about that. Well, David Formby, it's been a joy talking to you.
Thanks very much, Eric.
Welcome to Setfords, number one, because you're such a new person. I'm glad. It sounds like you're settling in really, really well. All the best for the future, and thank you for talking to us on Open Matters.
Great, been a pleasure. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you very much. So, Open Matters, we've come to that point which by now you're all fans of this podcast, so you must love it and wait for this bit. I love it, it's my favourite bit. We found someone behind the scenes at Setfords to be our unsung hero in this episode, and this week, this fortnight. I don't know what our frequency is. I know nothing, really. It's Hayley Manson, our events coordinator. Is that your job title?
Yep.
Been with the company for how long?
Since the end of March, so beginning of April, so about 6 months.
Okay, so you're an old hand now, basically. Tell us, events coordinator, what are you doing? I think the clue is in the title, but specifically.
Yeah, so I think most people kind of think of events coordinator as just a party planner. I wish. There's a lot more that goes into it. So obviously I do plan the parties, the summer party that we just had in July, the Christmas party coming up, but then also a few smaller things really focused on engaging smaller groups of consultants. So, like we're doing the roadshow?
Yes, we are in Manchester. I've said it several times.
Okay.
Tell us about the roadshow.
Yeah, so, these have actually been fantastic and so much fun so far.
They have been fun. We've just been talking about the fun before we started recording this properly, but yeah, go on. We're in Manchester, so we've invited consultants in the Manchester area to all come along, have some drinks with us. Like, it's a really great networking opportunity. It's a really great opportunity for the consultants to meet each other. Yes.
And also meet the team. So we've got Chris and Guy coming.
Yep.
Mike, obviously the lovely Eric Willard-White.
Oh, that's me, yeah.
Marissa, who is a face everybody knows and loves.
Our Director of Wellbeing, absolutely.
Yep, Marissa and Rebecca, our new Marketing Director.
Absolutely.
And me.
Yeah.
So just that we kind of it's just a good opportunity to chat. We do a little bit of a business update.
Yep.
And then enjoy a lovely meal together.
Yes, we do. And I think we've just been talking to one of our consultants, a chap called David Formby, who you probably sort of passed on the way in here. And he's very new. Mm-hmm. And I think for him, it just sort of shows the importance of these events, because he can now connect with other consultants like him in this area, and as you say, network, potentially maybe sort of push some work back and forth between them. There is a real value in what we're doing here. It's not just a dinner and drinks.
No.
There's business to be done, isn't there?
Absolutely, and I think even for future events, we had a couple of people last night saying, well, they weren't going to come to the Christmas party because they weren't going to know they didn't know anybody, but now they've kind of made a couple of friends. So I think that's like from a social perspective, it is lovely, especially when you consider all of our consultants. Most of them are remote working.
Yes.
So to kind of have that social interaction is actually really important.
It is, yeah, because we use the word remote working as a sort of a kind of a positive, that sort of change in the way, the workforce is now, sort of employed in many respects. But the word remote does actually mean remote. You can be a bit lonely. So you are facilitating friendships. You're building bridges.
Oh, I'm going to add that to my signature, my email signature.
You are giving gifts and creating opportunities. So events, have you always been in events?
Yes. I studied events management at university.
Okay.
But before the ink was dry on the certificate, I left the country and taught English in South Korea.
Oh, really?
For a year, I did that, and then I backpacked through Southeast Asia, travelled around China a bit, went back to South Africa, which...
we can tell. We can tell.
Went back to South Africa to settle down, couldn't settle down, so then I worked on a cruise ship for a couple of years, met my partner, my now fiance, and
lovely, congratulations.
Thank you. And moved to the UK.
That's cool. And now you're with us.
Yes.
Yes. And so events is, it feels sort of quite fluffy and flowery, doesn't it? But from a business perspective, it plays a very important role. We've discussed some of the reasons why people should sort of get together and mix and mingle and network, but it really does make a contribution to a business, doesn't it?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's how you approach it, I would imagine, in your job. You have a budget here and an objective here, and you try and sort of build a plan between those 2 points. Absolutely.
I think the thing with events is that it's so difficult to measure the success of an event. There's no number you can put on it. So, the measure is kind of just in, just... Is everybody having a good time? Are we getting what we need out of this?
Yes.
Are we reaching our consultants engaging our consultants is obviously a really big part of the well-being team.
Yes. And so feedback obviously is really important, isn't it, in terms of evaluating what you do. I mean, we've had lots of good feedback. I mean, I've seen emails this morning while I was on the train from Nottingham to here, just sort of reading all the lovely comments.
Oh, nice. I haven't seen those yet.
Have you not? It's really nice, actually. And you're absolutely right. People have now formed friendships and they're sort of organising where they're going to meet up before the Christmas party and things like that. So, it's really nice to see. I thought all of our events have been wonderful. All of the consultants have been brilliant. There was a really lovely vibe last night, I felt. A great location, World Service Restaurant in Nottingham. Let's give them a plug.
Oh, yeah, they were
fabulous. Food was amazing.
Yeah.
So 6 months at Setfords, what do you think of us?
I love it.
Really?
And I probably should say that because I'm on a podcast, but I really, really do. I think I've never enjoyed the events that I'm putting on as much as I enjoy them here at Setfords. And I think that's because I really feel trusted. I feel like leadership kind of are saying to me, you know what you're doing, crack on. And that's for me the best way to work, that I can just kind of be left to it. So there's always support if I need it, which is important, obviously.
Yes.
But I can kind of, I've got nobody watching over my shoulder all the time.
And I think, it's fairly evident you do know exactly what you're doing. You're very passionate about what you do. The summer party was amazing. The choice of location was just sort of wonderful. And you clearly love your job. And it's a sort of a joy to see. In the run-up, I mean, just for the benefit of people who might be listening to this, you have been corralling a team of people every week to remind them about the planning and prep that needs to be done for events like this. And you have, I have to say, I take my hat off to you. It's like herding cats.
I was just going to say it was herding cats. It was absolutely herding cats.
You've done a great job. And I think, that's a testament to you that these events are, they're very slick. They're on time when Chris and Guy arrive, bless them. They're busy people, by the way, we're not being mean. They're doing big business stuff, so
Absolutely. And I mean, taking the time out to travel to Nottingham and Manchester, that's a really big time investment.
It is, but people, our consultants really want to see them.
Absolutely.
They do. They love kind of hearing from them, so it's kind of special moments. Well, look, Hayley Manson, thank you for joining us on Open Matters. It's been a pleasure talking to you. You have such a big smile. I can tell you love your job. It's quite infectious.
Oh, that's lovely.
Which is great. So well done for all that you do, and please continue doing it.
Oh, thanks, Eric. Thank you. And I'm not half as nervous as I thought I was going to be.
No, you're fine. You're a born talker, I think.
I think I am.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you for joining us.
Great. Thanks.